Hey, how's it going? It's been a while, sorry about that. I didn't think it would take so long. I'll now attempt to explain why there hasn't been an update in over 2 months. So I think I talked previously about changing the game to make it level based, and to change how the upgrades worked. That part didn't take too long, but what did take long was the online save system that I implemented, and the fact that Unity deprecated a feature I was using to communicate with the Kongregate API. The purpose for the online save system was to save people's data more permanently. I was using player prefs to save data locally, but because the game is played in the browser, and browsers are notorious for being a pain for developers, some people's data wasn't being saved. Before, this wasn't at the top of my priorities, since the only thing that was persistent was the weapons you unlocked. The game itself was permadeath, so you had to start from scratch anyway. But since I changed things, there's no way I was going to release something like that without fixing the saving issues. Since you can't really change how browsers work, the only solution I could think of was implement an online save system. I had a look at ones like Google Firebase, but I wasn't entirely convinced by them. I figured I could just create my own database and create a basic API on my website to save the data. I basically had to learn PHP in a day and implement the API as soon as possible. This is where a lot of my time went, and I couldn't really avoid it since I had to provide a more reliable save system. In the meantime, Unity decided it would deprecate the feature that Kongregate recommends to use to communicate with its API. I spent a bunch more time figuring out an alternative, and I think I've got it sorted now. The only thing is, I haven't tested it yet on Kongregate, so it's entirely possible that everything will just be broken, and I'll have to spend even more time figuring it out. Okay, now that's out of the way, let me introduce you to the update. So you might have seen that screen at the start. That was the game connecting to Kongregate, getting the user ID of the player, and loading save data from the database. I should probably mention that you don't have to sign in. I designed it to save locally as well as online, in case something went wrong on my side, and also for people who don't have Kongregate accounts. You may also notice that the main menu is a bit different. Nothing really new, I just rearranged things a bit. Getting into the game, you now have a lobby screen. Here you can select a level and manage your upgrades. There are 10 levels, a tutorial I haven't gotten around to yet, and an endless survival mode. Each level has 5 stages with a boss fight at the end of each level. If you die in any of the stages, you have to start the level from the beginning. But the good thing about dying is that you have souls you can spend on upgrades. If any level is too hard to beat, you can just attempt it enough times to get enough souls to buy the upgrades you need. In order to unlock survival mode, you have to beat all 10 levels. By then you'll be pretty set on upgrades, and the point of survival mode is to just continue the levels endlessly until they get too hard for the player. I thought about turning survival mode into what it was previously, where you choose upgrades as you go, but I went against that for a number of reasons. The main reason is that I wanted survival mode to start at a fast pace. That part at the start where you have no upgrades is really boring in my opinion, and I'm not alone on this one. The second reason for it is because I wanted players to experiment with loadouts and to find one that suits them. There are some really fun combinations too, and I think people wouldn't even know they exist if they weren't given the opportunity to experiment. That leads us to the upgrades. They're now broken up into player upgrades and weapon upgrades. You can pick up to 10 upgrades for each, and you get up to 3 slots to store different loadouts. A few of the upgrades have also been changed. The most notable would be the regeneration and protection upgrades. The regeneration upgrade used to give you health after every few stages, but now there's a bar that fills up over time. When the bar fills up, you regen some health, and if you put more upgrades into regeneration, the bar fills up quicker. It's a lot nicer in my opinion, but something I think is going to happen is that players are going to hide in a corner and wait for their health to come back. It could also be a good thing though. It might be a good strategy to upgrade speed and just kite zombies around while their health regens. A similar change has been made to the protection upgrade. The first upgrade gives you armor. When you take damage, the armor absorbs the damage and has to recharge. Previously you got armor, but it was once per stage. Now, similar to the regeneration upgrade, you get a bar that fills up. If you put more into protection, you get faster armor regen speeds, but you also get that shockwave that was there previously. Before you got the shockwave and then the armor, but now you get the armor first. This just makes more sense, and now I have the ability to make the upgrade more expensive, since it didn't really make any sense to choose health over protection. That's why it was like that before, because it was just a no-brainer to choose protection over health if you got armor before shockwave. This video is getting a bit long, but I want to mention a couple of things before I end it. The The first thing is the vision radius. I learned that you can use a mask overlay to hide things on the screen. Previously enemies appeared based on distance, but now they get cut off by the mask alongside other things like blood. This is something people gave feedback about, and they could just shoot in all directions and look for the blood splatter. Now you can only see blood if you get close. The other thing I wanted to mention is the different weapon firing modes. Previously you unlocked the burst rifle, SMG and the shotgun, but I've thought of a way to incorporate it into the upgrades. To get a burst rifle, use one projectile upgrade. To get an SMG, use one projectile upgrade and a few fire rate upgrades. And to get a shotgun, just use multiple projectile upgrades. Alright, that's about it for this update, but I just wanted to point out that this update may have some balancing issues, and it's probably going to be a bit unstable, especially with the whole Kongregate API thing and the new online save feature. As always, I'll be looking for feedback, so if you notice any issues, you know what to do. At this point, I don't really want to be adding new things, but still let me know your ideas if you have any. Also, thanks for being patient while I was working on this update. The update should start coming quicker now that I've done what I needed to do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.